Senior Day in Towson, Maryland, as two NCAA tournament teams from a year ago compete in a pivotal conference battle. It's the Drexel Dragons visiting the Towson Tigers in our CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network. Hello, everybody. Alongside Kelly Berger, the three-time gold medalist, I am Tom Eschen. These two teams met in the CAA semifinals last spring, a 15-14 Drexel victory in overtime with some controversy. Kelly, we get the rematch today.
Yeah, there was a lot of drama in that last matchup. And quite honestly, both teams can say they didn't look back or remember what happened, but we know it's in the back of their heads. And this is going to be a battle today, maybe because of that.
Yeah, Blair Perry, the star for Towson, she scored 5 goals in that game. But you remember, she got hurt late in that matchup as well. She's healthy now. Like Carson Harris on the other side, Perry leading the Tigers in nearly every single category.
Yeah, these coaches have a ton of confidence in Blair. She's coming off of a tough loss from Hopkins, but led that team with 3 goals there. She has a hot hand. It's not only what she does on the offensive side, though, that I want everyone to watch. She is really pivotal in the midfield with those draw controls, with those ground balls, getting that offensive started from that midfield.
Perry against the Dragons defense ranked first in the CAA, 13th in the nation. They're led by 2021 CAA Goalie of the Year, Zoe Bennett.
I feel like every time we bring up Drexel, we bring up Zoe Bennett. She's the 8th defender, and she starts that fire from the other side to get that offense and her team going. And she makes saves that she shouldn't every single game we watch her, and I'm expecting her to do that today.
And we are set and steady to go here from Tiger Field in Towson, Maryland. The opening draw about to commence between the 4 and 7 Tigers and the 7 and 5 Dragons in this CAA matchup. The opening draw going the way of the Tigers, coming off that overtime loss this week to a good Johns Hopkins team. That was a battle, one of the best battles of the year. But now we get to see the Tigers on offense. We talked about Perry, Carrie Thornton, 24 goals as well. A nice second feature to the Tigers offense this season.
I think the flavor of this game is going to be CAA. A CAA matchup is always a little different, right? And no matter what these two teams have brought before, they're ready to battle now because this game means a little extra something.
Trying to work it through the middle. Boarded again by the defense here by Drexel. Drexel, like we said, the 13th best defense in the country. Here's the freshman Milana Zizakovic from Alberta, Canada. 11 goals, 5 assists in her freshman season. 30 on the clock. Lindsay Clark into the middle. She's got an opening, and she's got a goal. The 6th of the year for the Oregon transfer. Tigers strike first.
We see here that there's a pick or a screen somewhat set up. They're causing some commotion on the Towson side. They want to see if they're going to switch on the Drexel defensive side. And there was no switch happening. There was no second slide. So take the full reign and go right to the center. A nice lefty dodge here and right in front of Zoe. That's a tough stop for her to make, but a really good finish by Lindsay.
Clark from Parkton, Maryland, a sophomore from Hereford High School, went to Oregon last year, got 6 goals there. Coming over here to Towson, a little closer to home this time around. She's been a good quarterback for them. A lot of potential, a nice presence on the field. So Towson an early lead, but Bednarik picks up that draw. She's had a couple of great games in a row. Corinne Bednarik, William & Mary game, she had 7 draw controls. And Drexel will go to work on the offensive end. We talked about Carson Harris. We have all season long, really. Colleen Grady here will also dictate with that pink headband on the offensive end. Harris comes into the day 4 goals shy of tying the Drexel all-time record. Excuse me, Kelly.
No worries, Tom. Early on, we see both of these teams in a man-to-man help defense. Doesn't mean they're not going to slide. Doesn't mean they're not going to, have a second slide or a third slide or even a double team. But it's a little bit more unusual these days to see more of a man-to-man defense or woman-to-woman defense in the lacrosse world with all the zones being thrown around. So this will be interesting to see how Drexel and Towson kind of match up against it.
Drexel with 2 straight wins here to start their CAA slate after a loss over out west to Denver. Denver really good defense. That was a 10-4 loss to Drexel. Nice dodge by Bednarik. Gets it checked as she gets to the cage. And Carly Merlot, we introduced ourselves to her today. The junior from Ryerstown, Maryland. Started the last 4 games, 9 saves against Johns Hopkins earlier this week. You can see there's some raindrops intermittently falling. Kind of a funny day here in Towson, Maryland today. It is breezy, 10 miles per hour, sustained winds into the 20, 25 gusting if a dark cloud comes along, though the sun has shined as well. So we've gotten a little bit of everything. A smorgasbord, if you will.
I think I can play in, a little bit of rain. The wind really throws me off. I don't love a windy day, but these guys look like they're handling it good.
Gabby Garrett fulfills a quarterback role here offensively. 13 goals, 7 assists this year.
And you can see that Towson plays off of each other a lot offensively. They set picks, they cut through for one another, and they read each other. It's a really nice back check there on the defensive side. They got to come up with that ground ball, Drexel, when they make that nice check, but giving Towson offense another shot, but still 10 on the shot clock here. They got to go.
Izakovic again. Tries to dodge from the top. She gets free. Flag goes up. Stopped by Bennett. Still in the critical scoring area. Picked up and score. Chaos in front. Gabby Garrett gets her first.
And that's one of those goals that you want back as Drexel. You're going to see here, I actually think the Towson player reaches in the crease after the rebound to scoop that ball out. I do think the official missed this call, but either way, garbage goal, Towson picks it up and they get it back. So you see here that Towson player reaches in and gets that rebound, which that is not allowed, but sometimes it's missed and you got to roll with it.
Saw that in that big BC North Carolina game a couple weeks ago. Similar kind of a play. And this time, it goes the way of the Towson. They now lead 2-0 after the Garrett goal, her 14th of the year.
And as frustrating as that may be for Zoe and their defense on the Drexel side, you have to kind of keep rolling, keep playing, kind of forget that play happened, because if you let it affect you too much, it'll roll right into the next play.
A great start for the Tigers. Bednarik picks up another draw control here. But the Tigers, we talked about coming off of that loss to Johns Hopkins, so they felt really good about how they played. We talked to Sonia LaMonica about that during the week. She said Kathleen Garvey, the goalie for Johns Hopkins, she was unbelievable, and Towson hit some pipes in that game too. So they're pretty confident despite the loss, finding some of the positives despite dropping that game to Johns Hopkins. All their losses, the Tigers this year, we were talking about it, Kelly, all of them are good teams. They lost to Loyola, Michigan, Penn State, Vanderbilt, JMU. These are all good teams that they've lost to this year. Grady stopped there by Merlot, her first save.
And going back to that, as you spoke to Sonia, or as we spoke to Sonia on the call, she has just such a level head perspective. And she says the team really isn't trying to dwell on those losses. They're trying to learn from them. They're sticking together. They're a really positive group, and they're working their tails off. And that's the biggest thing. I asked her, are they competitive? Are they sulking? You can get different personalities in that. And she said, no, I can't be, upset with them for not working hard, because even though during those losses happen, it sometimes can bring a team down. And she said they're really just trying to plug along, and she kept saying next play, best play, next play, best play. So Towson looks like they're doing that right now.
Raindrops starting to fall once again here. It's going to be an interesting day as Clark works that lefty grip, that lefty move through the middle. Another dodge from the right to the top, right to the cage, and scoring is Carrie Thornton. She gets her first.
Carrie Thornton does a really nice job here as tucking her stick, protecting her stick as she gets that outside dodge, but then gets underneath. Drexel needs to do a better job of seeing the slide here. I mean, this defender is beat. She needs help, but Carrie Thornton sees that opening. She tucks underneath and she creates a better angle for herself in order to finish easily. And you can't expect a goalie to make that save when it's 1v none.
Her 25th goal of the season. She had 2 goals and an assist against Johns Hopkins earlier this week. Like we said, a nice counterpoint to Blair Perry on the offense. And don't look now, Towson's up 3-0 against Drexel here. What a start. And don't forget, it's so interesting, the CAA tournament, like we talked about it last year at the time, you throw everything out because the Tigers lost. They were blown out by Drexel twice last season. And that semifinal game, a classic battle for sure, just a 15-14 game. So you never know in the CAA what can happen, especially this time of year as we get into April, into May too.
I remember playing, in CAA play. It was a whole new ball game. Anybody could show up on any given day. You had to be prepared, and every team scared you. And that was something actually we've talked to both coaches about, is how competitive the CAA is and how much more competitive it keeps getting. You don't think it can be more competitive, and then every year another team gets better and better. And both of these programs know that very well.
And keep in mind, James Madison ineligible for the tournament this year. They, of course, can win the regular season title. But this very well, from what we've seen so far this year, Kelly, these are 2 of the better teams. This could be a championship game preview today.
Which I'm here for that. Let's watch it. And then let's replay it next.
1 month early, yeah.
Exactly.
Garrett Cervais gets it out to Carrie Liucci, senior from Stony Brook, New York. One of the sets of sisters on this team. Paige Abbott, another one of those, with her sister Peyton. It's Paige behind the cage. She dodges in and out of the critical scoring area, working that clock low once again. Clark. 10 on the clock. Good defense by Carson Harris. How about that? Bennett coming out, picks off the pass.
Are we surprised? What we talked about early, she wants to make the plays, and then she makes the plays to propel them into their offensive set. She read through that, and that was a beautiful, beautiful anticipation play on her end.
She is the reigning CAA Defensive Player of the Week. 14 saves against William & Mary. Leads the league in goals against average, 9.59, and save percentage, 52.5%. Drexel's just having trouble settling themselves in on the offensive end right now and getting those clearing opportunities too.
That's exactly it. They look a little frazzled once that ball gets past the 50-yard line. And they have to remember that, yes, it's 3-0, but if any team, and I think, Tom, you and I can say this because we watched them do it a couple times, can come back from a deficit, it's this Drexel team.
Yeah, they can score goals and they can do it quickly because we saw that against Florida a few weeks back here on LSN. That was a game in which Drexel trailed by 8 goals. They came all the way back to tie it, took the lead. Florida got a couple late to retake that. But, yeah, Drexel, if they can start winning some draws, watch out. And keeping the ball for them this year also a priority. Turnovers have been an Achilles heel for them at times as well.
So as we know, there's a shot clock. So although Towson can, play with some time here because they do have the lead, they can slow down. They might see that they can dictate the pace a little bit. And that's exactly what they're doing. But there is a point in time where they do have to, engage in offense because of that shot clock.
3 goals, 3 different goal scorers. The sun starts to peek out after the rain. We got to have a shot of a rainbow at some point today. I'm calling it, right? It's my prediction for today's game.
Eyes peeled for it, absolutely.
Garrett tried to get a shot in there, unable to do so. Clark, though, backing it up. And we had a reset of the clock. And a quick restart as well. We'll see what the officials here today will speak about. Our crew is Julia Wakus, Jennifer Mariano, Amanda Cohen. I think they're trying to figure out if that was a shot or not, if the clock should have gone back to 90 here, Kelly.
Yeah, and I would have labeled that as a shot. The question is, who did it hit and what did it hit?
After a save or the shot hits the post this year, if it's under 60 seconds, it will go back to 60. That is the rule, and I think that's what we're trying to figure out here. And that's what everybody in the crowd is also saying.
Very upset about it.
When in doubt, just yell shot clock. So they put it back down to 30. So they say that was not a shot, actually. So they will rule that nothing was a save or whatnot. And nice play there, a takeaway by Peyton Bennett, the senior from Westchester, Pennsylvania, on the defensive end for the Dragons. Now the work to clear, Alex Wall. A lot of speed on the junior from North Carolina.
And I would say use your athleticism, Drexel. That's what they're good at, and that's what they really, that's what allows them to come back in deficits and roll with things like that last play, just an athletic play, and then build from there. They don't have to necessarily put the X's and O's together right away. Those will fall. Use your athleticism that you have right now and try and build from that.
That check from Liucci pushed Jerema out. That's why the whistle blew. So a restart here behind the cage now, up top to Wall. Dragons still looking for their first goal. 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Harris dodging from the top. Harris shoots just wide.
If I was Carson Harris, I would be ecstatic that they are in a man-to-man defense right now. Her style of play is exactly, against a man-to-man defense can be very productive because of her fantastic dodging and her speed.
Brady trying to dodge herself on the top. Good help there defensively. Aaron Williams, their best matchup defender on her. Now Bednarik working the crease. Bednarik scores. Drexel on the board, 3-1.
Bednarik does an amazing job of turning her shoulders. You're going to see a specific spot here where she turns her shoulders down to goal. So she takes this wide, she feels the defender, she kind of stutters for a second and then turns on the jets, turns her shoulders, and is able to get a little bit more room for her hands to extend out in front of her and find the back of that net. That was beautifully done. And again, not a huge play setup, just athleticism, just running hard, just working together. And again, it's 3-1. You're down 2 goals. That's nothing for Drexel.
The junior from Glenmore, Pennsylvania is on fire. 7 goals, 2 assists. Now add another one onto that in her last couple games. The prior 4 games to that, she had 7 goals, 4 assists. So doubling that production over the last couple weeks here and putting the Dragons on the board for the first time today. 3-1, 4:28 to go in this first. Sissel in the middle, working on the draw. And a big scuffle for that ground ball. That whistle will go the way of the Tigers. Hard to see what was going on in there, but they get the benefit of the doubt in this case.
I guess we'll trust the official on that one.
They had a better look than we did.
A little closer.
Yeah. Towson settles in on offense once again, and in offense we've seen 3 different goal scorers today as Paris still off the score sheet. They're so far so good. An offense that Sonia LaMonica called their most dynamic offense they've ever had, and seeing a little bit of that today. A lot of different sources of activity here so far.
Which when she said that, I was surprised because she has had some very good offenses in the past that have had a lot of different threats, a lot of different factors that pour into those threats. So that's a huge compliment for this offense, and I'm sure she lets them know that, but that's big.
There's Clark working on Harris. Get it back in the middle. Thornton has it taken away. She recovers it, gets it back. 30 on the possession clock. Now feeds the middle. Opening on the inside. Tough catch. Porras tried to get it. Didn't get a lot on it. And Bennett was there.
And to break that defensive set down easily is they sent the slide and caused commotion on the Drexel side of things, allowing Bennett to see the ball. If you allow Bennett to see the ball, it's hard to get it past her. Let's be serious. She is a phenomenal goalie.
That one just past the stick of Schneiderth, another one of the dynamic scorers on this Dragons team. Couldn't convert there. Ball turned back over to the Tigers.
And we should expect a run and gun game from both of these teams. Both of these programs have always been running programs. They will settle it down and they'll try and slow the pace. But both of them, they recruit athletes. So they expect them to have that midfield drive to start their offense quickly.
And run they shall, and they'll see how much the Tigers have in their legs. They've had a little bit busier of a schedule as of late. 3 straight weeks of 2 games a week. Drexel had a little bit more time to recover after their win over William & Mary last weekend, so keep an eye on that as the day goes on. They know, the Tigers, they've got to play a full 60 minutes to beat a team like Drexel today, too.
I don't know, Tom. I mean, I want to play a game every day if I'm in their shoes, right?
Right.
I'm one of those players where I just hated practice. I was like, oh, man, we got to go to practice again. Let's play games.
Tough to wait a week.
I know it's important.
Right? Tough to wait a week in between games.
It is.
Coming from me, a football guy, I used to play every Saturday. But that's none. I mean, I don't know if I would have wanted to play a Wednesday game, but nonetheless.
True. A little bit more physical. I get that. But that's just tough. It is tough, especially if you have a bad game. Then you have to wait a week till you can kind of make up for it.
First free position of the game. We haven't had any until up to now. That's very rare. We've gone almost 13 and a half minutes. We'll have Carrie Thornton here on the 8-meter from the left side. 6 for 11 this year, free position opportunities, is Thornton. Already has a goal today. She's going to go to the cage, looking to beat Bennett, and she does. 2 for Thornton, 4 for Towson. They lead by 3.
And again, we talked about this earlier when Carrie was taking that dodge and tucking her stick and protecting it. You see her do this right off the 8-meter. Her first objective is to get the first step, get in front, get quickness going, and then protect that stick, shield it, and be able to do a little short stick here and just a flick of the wrist to get it by Bennett.
A lot of power there coming from that shot, amidst a lot of different bodies. She was able to get a lot on that there to beat Bennett.
Yeah, and that's all about shortening up your stick, we call it, keeping those hands a little bit tighter, and then just using a lot of wrist snapping and a lot of wrist strength to be able to get that pass, because you don't have room to get that stick back. You'll get checked and ball taken away.
And now it'll be Thornton and Sissel in the middle. The draw, something the Tigers had to figure out after Lindsay Marshall last year for them was so good. She was their primary draw taker, point scorer. Just a freshman. She got hurt in the preseason, so they've been without her Towson and had to figure some things out, and Thornton's done a nice job in there, and they're doing a nice job in the draw control circle today. They've won 4 of 6. And the possession clock is off, so they can hold here if they'd like for the last one. It was, by the way, as Kelly talked about, just to bring that back, it was Paris there who got that draw. As Kelly mentioned, she's all over the field. They love what she does for them from goal to goal.
And that's huge. All too often we leave a game and we look at our stats of who has goals and who has assists. And I always, maybe it's the midfielder in me, want to look who has the ground balls, who has the draw controls, because that's the gritty work.
That one knocked away in the middle. Bednarik, another ground ball. She's picked up a few of those so far today. She gets another, off and running. Here comes Drexel, 30 on the clock. Schneidereth. Drake in, then back out. Try to dish it out to Wygand. Bit of the second unit in here for the Dragons. Quickly back the other way. Carson Harris. One-timer there, Grady, and it does tick in for Schneidereth. 4-2.
Sometimes you just have to hope that the ball bounces your way, and that's exactly what just happened with Lucy. She tried to actually shoot the ball before it was really in her stick, and this is really good ball movement, recognizing the double team comes and then off-ball cutting. That's unlucky for the Towson team, but really lucky for Lucy, and sometimes it's just better to be lucky on that side of things.
Good feed by Bednarik there, I should say that too. Schneidereth, her 27th goal of the season. She has now 10 goals and an assist in her last 2 games she's played. She had 9 goals in the previous 5 she had played. So like Bednarik, she's come on strong as CAA play has started up. Wins for over Delaware and William & Mary here for Drexel to start. 7.3 on the clock.
And not to mention Carson Harris started that by her dodge that created the double team and allowed everything to shift. Her just being there creates something.
4 on the clock. Harris looks like she'll try to get one more pass in there, and Drake unable to get a shot off as the final seconds tick off the clock here in the first, an action-packed first, a one that moved rather quickly here today. It's the Tigers, though, on top thanks to 2 goals from Carrie Thornton, the Long Island native, getting the job done here in Maryland today. You're watching the CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network. The Towson Tigers leading 4-2 here at home at Tiger Field in Towson, Maryland. Look at the Drexel sideline. Their head coach is Kim Hillier. She is not with the team today, out for personal reasons. So led by Katie O'Donnell, Issa Guido, and Jamie Schneider at the volunteer assistant as well. You see her there instructing one of her members of her team, Belle McHugh. So that is what the Drexel sideline looks like. On the other end, it's Sonia LaMonica in her 13th season with the Towson Tigers. Very successful in that. 4 CAA championships to her name, the Maryland alum from 2003. So
the Maryland alum with a really cool Australian accent.
A little bit of everything.
I love listening to her. Yes. It's awesome.
I mean, that's almost a tradition there, Kelly. Jen Adams as well. I mean, you got them all coaching in Maryland still. Jen Adams has a good team over there in Loyola. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah. They typically don't have to tell you where they went to college. You usually know it's Maryland if they're from Australia, but not always. There are exceptions, but.
Opening draw, the second quarter goes the way of the Dragons. Had a clean first for the most part here. You get another look at what happened there, and that might draw a card. I think they wanted one, and I think we got one here.
Yeah, you just got to be careful with those swings, whether you hit someone in the head or not. If the official feels that it's somewhat uncalled for and she needs to protect the players, she will pull a card.
So that is against Carrie Liucci at 14:49. It will be a 2-minute releasable penalty here. So Drexel will now get an opportunity with a woman up. Had Clark flashing through the middle, decides to stay patient. Excuse me, that was Simpson on the other end. Now Grady works it behind. Simpson back to Harris. Harris draws the shooting space. "36 goals this year for the graduate student from Grant Mills, Maryland. Had 4 goals and an assist in her last game against William and Mary. And there goes Harris streaking towards the cage. She goes high and she scores. Drexel cuts the deficit to 1.
And right before this call was made, I'm always very impressed with Drexel's ball movement. This is what created this 8-meter. It was a shooting space call because the entire team moved the ball very well, quicker than the defense could get there. And if you put Carson Harris on the 8-meter, you are in trouble because she knows exactly what to do at this point. She's a graduate. She's a graduate senior. She's been there. She's done that. She's done it for so long. And you should have confidence in her because she is a phenomenal finisher as well as a player. But you put her on the 8-meter, things could get a little dicey.
Now 13 of 23 on that 8-meter this season, her 37th goal this year. Now needs 3 goals to tie the career school record mark of 189. She's got 186 goals in her career, a long career at that. Came back with a bunch of her teammates here to do it one more time after a program-defining season in 2021. Most wins in the history of the program, 13 of them. They win this draw, now have an opportunity to tie. That penalty is released. We're back to even strength.
And when I say they move the ball so sharp, just watch how crisp their passes are to one another. They can pass to each other as their feet are moving. They don't just have to be standing, and that's not always the case. They all use their right and left hands They're very fluid with that stick work. They have been for a couple years now. And that's not something always Drexel, I think, was. And so they've worked on it a lot, and these players should be proud of it.
Harris trying to dodge from up top, looking for some space. Pounded there right in front. Good defense by Olivia Malamphy, but the penalty is drawn, and now Harris will get it right down the middle. 45 on the possession clock. Harris with the look, and Harris goes high again. 2 in a row. Drexel ties it 4-4.
And this is what we talked about earlier with that 1v1 opportunity that you're giving Harris from the top. She's going to keep working to get that 8-meter center hash. She brings her stick right over her head to give protection, and then she's still able to use that flick of the wrist to read where is the goalie? Do I need to flick it high? Do I need to flick it low? And she just flicks it right in that top left corner to find space.
So she's got 2 goals now here in the second quarter, the first 2 minutes. And just like that, Drexel's tied it up, all knotted up at 4 here. She set the single season goals and draw control records last year. She has the career draw controls record as well. She was the CAA Player of the Year in 2021. First time a Drexel player has been able to do so. Sissel gets that towards the Drexel offensive area. She's been good for them on the draw. A couple weeks ago was the CAA Defensive Player of the Week, though it's Towson who comes back with this. Thornton picks it up.
And it's interesting. We feel like Blair has been a little quiet, although she's been active in other ways, but she has been a little quiet. I would try and get her involved because she is a producer. So, you know, it's 4-all now. It's a nothing type feel. And so see if you can get your top offensive players involved. But she's got to do it herself as well.
Here she is with the ball right now, getting a screen from Thornton. Offensively locked down for now. Simpson was on her. Now Zizakovic. Here's Thornton. Trying to work, finds herself some freedom. She shoots it just wide. A good dodge and a good defensive stand there for Drexel once again. They get the ball back.
And I would say try not to give up that defensive check there. You're playing good 1v1 defense on the Drexel side of things, but the Towson player really read that nicely, turning that corner down, protecting her stick. Shot didn't fall, and it went wide. Drexel was able to pick it up and go.
Drema working all the way around the top. Now Harris, dangerous, dodging quickly. She's got a natural hat trick here in the second. She gives Drexel a 5-4 lead.
I think she is really dangerous when it comes against a man-to-man defense. She has speed, she has quickness, she has great stick work. She reads defense really well on where her body needs to be. She can go both ways, and she's showing that on these last 3 possessions. Really hard dodges that it's either resulted in an 8-meter or resulted in just a 1v1 dodge to goal, and now she's put her team up by 1.
And she has taken over, and so has Drexel. 5-4, they force a Sonia LaMonica timeout. We'll take a break as well. 11:39 to go in the half here at Tiger Field. Lax Sports Network is your home for dogs and also the CAA Lacrosse all the way to the conference tournament. The 2022 CAA Women's Tournament presented by Primus will be held at Drexel University on May 6th and 8th with all 3 games live on LSN. Who will earn the automatic berth into the NCAA tournament? Maybe it'll be one of those teams. You'll find out here live on Lax Sports Network.
I can really relate to that man. That was my father, like in every game. Up on the hill with the dog. I could always find him. He wouldn't say anything. He'd just stand there. It's a Lax dad, you know?
What of you? It looked like you got a great vantage point there. So why not have yourself a nice little Saturday?
Exactly.
And so are we. Second quarter, 11:39 to go. Drexel has taken the lead after Towson got out to an early lead themselves. Carson Harris with a natural hat trick within the first 5 minutes of this second quarter, too. Drexel once again winning another draw. Sissel starting to implement her will there in the circle. They've been trying to improve that facet of the game here over the last few weeks. Communication is what they've worked on quite a bit. Jarema. Allison Drake, 14 goals this year. Harris, so dangerous. Little fake pass. What a dodge into the middle, looking for another. Merlot stops it, but a whistle happened before the shot. Looked like maybe the stick of Malamphy there.
Yeah, it looks like that Towson defender made one last reach to try and stop Harris from going to goal, and they got her on the body.
This could tie the school record. Will she do it? Yes, she does. 4 in a row for Carson Harris. She's tied the school career record in goals at 189 and given her team a 2-goal lead.
So it feels like at this point Towson needs to make that change, because putting 11 on the 8-meter is not productive because of what is happening. So awesome job for Carson, and really well done. She's been able to prove that she can score from any hash mark, because she's had the center, she's had the wide, she's had the other wide. But you got to keep her off the 8-meter, Towson, if you want to get back in this game and make it a run.
I mean, we've talked to Kim Hillier before, and Kelly, she said, yeah, like we want other players to be sources, and we don't want to have Carson put the team on her back, but I guess when she can put the team on her back, she will, and she sure has here today. When they needed it down early, now they've got a 2-goal lead. And we had a unceremonious draw control there. I didn't even hear a whistle called. So I think that maybe we just go, okay. Bednarik. Drexel with possession again. That was actually a foul on Hannah Delahaye. That's why we just didn't hear a whistle. Malamphy gets her stick on it. Malamphy tries to get the ground ball. Good tough play, but the whistle is blown once again, going the way of Drexel.
A really good hustle play, really good anticipation there, and just didn't go her way. But you love to see that CAA play, both teams going hard for it and just, fighting for that ground ball every possession.
Malamphy is tenacious on defense here for the Tigers. She knows one speed, and that's fast. Schneiderith dodging in the middle. She shoots off the stick of Merlot. Drexel keeps possession. Bednarik looking high over the crossbar. Backed up by Drake. Watch out into the stick of Harris again. Little pick and roll with Schneiderith. Now back out to Grady. Grady looked to dodge. We had a whistle there off the play as Lucy Schneiderith went down. I think she's going to get it. Actually, it's going to be Grady who gets it on the draw control. So Grady with an opportunity here. Didn't have many, not draw control. Free position is what it is. Grady shoots, bounces in. Her first, 7-4.
And Colleen Grady takes a tough 8-meter, a bouncer on an 8-meter. You have to position perfectly. She explodes off of this with her left hand, but you can see that bouncer is a little bit behind the goalie's ankles, and that's why it makes it difficult for that save to happen. And 7-4, we talked about this. Drexel comes back. They never give up, so you can never get too high on being up on Drexel because you just don't know what's coming next.
Yeah, they were down 4-1. With 1:35 to go there in the first quarter. They've now gone on a 6-goal run. So there you go. As Grady scores her 22nd of the year. She's the all-time career points leader in Drexel history. Towson.
I'm actually surprised. And I'm actually surprised Towson hasn't called a timeout here yet.
And once again, another violation there. I think there was a hit to the head on that draw control, and this is also going to be, I believe, a yellow card. As Carrie Thornton will have to go over and sit out. 2 minutes here with 9:24 to go in the second. Second yellow card of the day on the Towson Tigers. So Drexel, they scored their last time they had an advantage. See if they can do it again here and keep the run going. Talked about their 8-0 runs on the precipice of another one here today.
And you'll see the Towson defense now is almost in a zone feel where they're passing players off, pointing to each other. Maybe this is what they need right now. Maybe they need a little gut check of communicating on defense, because that's the downfall at this point. They don't have the ball, but defense isn't covering their butts.
Great passing in front there to Schneidereth. I think a late stick got in there. Quick pickup for Grady. No one's there. She scores. What a heads-up play from Colleen Grady for her second.
Such a heads-up play. I agree with you, Tom. Realizing that a pick-up-and-go mentality, not every team has caught on to, but this team has, and most importantly, Grady has. She realizes, oh, no one's on me? Okay, let's go. And by that point, it's too late, but the composure that she has once the Towson defense runs towards her to be able to place that ball properly, that was really well done, really heads-up play, and again, an athletic play. That's what Drexel relies on.
She worked to get in quickly. She does have a soccer background. Almost reminds you of like a team trying to get a quick throw in, you know, after the ball goes out and they're trying to reset and restart pretty quickly. She won a state title in high school and showed a little bit of that there. 8-4 now Drexel, the run continuing. A 7-0 runs as they were down 4-1. How this game has changed in the second quarter.
I think, too, Tom, we can recognize what Drexel is doing majorly different, and that's getting the draw.
Good play there in the middle, and you can see Drexel reaching in. There you go. There's the whistle.
We missed that earlier.
Yeah, that was a miss earlier. They do make that call. Drexel forces a turnover. Let's see now. They can settle in and stop the run, at least for now on offense. Aaron Williams with a nice clear.
And the question here is, because as a player, you feel antsy. You haven't had the ball for a while. You want to go to goal. You want to get your team back up. But you also want to get some touches. You want to feel the ball in your stick and make sure everyone's there feeling comfortable. And you don't want to feel rattled. But it's that fine line of we still got to go. We still got to try and keep a little bit of pace on this ball and not just sit back.
Sometimes the hardest thing to do is get that first stop while the floodgates are open. Olivia Malamphy, a nice cause turnover to get them the ball back here. And looked like a 3-second call will put the Tigers on the 8-meter. Clark, she has a goal today. Midway through the second quarter, 8-4. Clark is off, she shoots, beats Bennett for her second. Stops the run, it's now 8-5.
Stops the run, and you can see that those Towson players almost look defeated after that goal of just, okay, we just need to breathe a little bit. And this is a great example of, you can't just get complacent. You have to actually go hard in every play, and that includes Drexel on that defensive side, not making those mental lapse mistakes of a simple 3-second call that puts, Towson, gives Towson another little feeling of we're still in this. But Lindsay Clark's done a really good job already today to have her second, to put this Towson team back up.
Yeah, I mean, it gets them on the board again, and don't forget, I mean, it's still an 8-5 game. Even after all that, Drexel had to do a lot of work to get the lead, but it's still a close deficit for Towson to try and get themselves back in this here, and they are in it.
And I think, Tom, this is partially your fault because you made some comments about not having any 8 meters, and now we've had about 5, 6.
That's true. There's been several in the second quarter. First, it took us, 14 minutes in the first to have our first one, and then talk about the floodgates opening. There you go. You're right. It's my fault. Over to Bednarik. Looks to dodge. Out to Harris, running downhill. And Harris, man, she is starting to gain some traction. I mean, she is. She's got 4 goals today. Gets another opportunity on the 8-meter. Has tied the school record today. 4 goals. Looking for number 5, and there it is. 190 career goals for Carson Harris. That is the school record. Her 5th today. Drexel takes a 4-goal lead.
And she knows how to score, and that's why she now holds that record. It's pretty important to recognize the players who don't necessarily want to put on the 8-meter, and she is one of them because she knows how to be productive there. It's hard to figure out what to do against her in order for that to not happen, but she's single-handedly been able to bring this team back and take them ahead with these 8-meter opportunities.
5-goal game for Harris. Her season high came against Delaware and Lafayette. She had 6 goals and an assist in each of those. And this is just the first half here today. And now Towson changing things up, had a couple of violations on the draw control circle, so Sarah Rhodes goes in there to take that, and now Bednarik looks to scoop it up. And it is going to be Towson that comes out with it. Shannon Sullivan picking that up, the freshman from Montauk, New York. The reigning Rookie of the Week after she had 4 ground balls and 3 caused turnovers against Elon, all career highs for her.
And I remember Sonia talking about on the call how they have to be patient because they are a young offensive set. You're a young offensive group, whether that means in school, maybe not necessarily, but different players have to show up now. So they're trying to be patient with what they have. But again, she talks about how dynamic they are, and you can see that through how many people touch the ball, go for the goal, all of those things. Nobody's really scared to produce what they need, and that might be a goal at a specific time.
Bennett still in front, though. The ball picked up by Caitlin Thornton. She scores 9-6.
Towson has really good heads-up plays once that rebound happens from that Drexel defense, whether it's from the goalie or not. The ball fell out here, shot happened, whatever it was, checked. And those heads-up plays, that takes skill. Not everyone is very good at that. And Towson can say that they are because now they have, 2 goals off of those garbage goals in front.
Yeah, it was actually a nice play there by Belle McHugh to knock the ball out of Paris' stick. Paris was still looking for her first goal of the day, and Caitlin Thornton scoring her 5th goal of the year there, the older sister of Carrie. Caitlin now a grad student, a captain here alongside Reina Deltuva. Deltuva, one of the injured Tigers. They try to fill some of the holes left by some of those injuries this year. But Deltuva still a captain and honored here today as senior day. 11 seniors for the Tigers honored. 11, I guess, final year, if you will, players. I guess can't really call them seniors anymore.
You know how I look at it. I can't keep up.
5th year.
What year are you? What COVID year are we in? It's all very confusing.
You do it's fascinating to see. We had Tim McCormick on of Arizona State. He goes, they had a newer program. He goes, this is the most experienced team we're ever going to have because they, especially for your new program, you had all the freshmen and sophomores who have played since day one, and then you have them come up through the system, and it really lengthens the depth of your team. And I think a lot of these teams are working with that. We'll actually you'll hear from him at halftime too, talking about some of that stuff. They had a big win last night over Stanford, by the way.
It's wild to hear some of those teams, that have lacrosse, and they've had it now for a bit, but it feels so good and sounds so good to hear, Arizona, California, wherever it is. It's just the sport is just growing.
And now a bunch of
every
teams
year
out there in the Pac-12 have made things a lot of fun. That's a fascinating conference. USC,
yep.
Stanford, Colorado. Nice pass into the middle. Deflection in front. Abbott scores. Another for Towson. Back in it.
A beautiful little backdoor slip-in by Paige here, and a heads-up play, moving the ball quickly, ready to feed. And this is a really good vision of, her feet are still moving. Lindsay's feet are still moving behind the goal, driving towards goal. So her defender has to pay attention to her to only know that she's going to give a nice, easy feed inside. And that was well done by Towson.
Yeah, that was on a woman-up opportunity for Towson. Allison Drake had a yellow card, so Towson able to take advantage of that. And that is released now back to even strength, but the score is 9-7. This is tightening up here as we make our way into halftime. Kind of a wild game, 9-7, a lot of goals on the board now.
I was just thinking, I want defense to make a stop, one side or the other. I'm cheering for defense to make a stop just because there's a lot of goals for sure, but let's have a big stop here and see if one team can step up on the defensive side.
I mean, these two teams have done a lot of scoring in CAA play. Drexel scoring 20 in their last two, and Towson in their win over Elon, they scored 20 in that one. Maybe it will be a stop or two that makes all the difference considering that today.
And we'll pay attention here, speaking about defense. It looks like they're now face guarding Carson, and they'll see if they can take her out and make any change, and it doesn't look like it's going to affect Drexel.
That was Bednarik working her way and finding the freedom in the middle for her second goal today. Drexel responds to make it 10-7.
We've talked about the many, many threats that Drexel has, and this goes to show that you can maybe take out one player or try to, but there's still going to be another player that steps up. And we saw this play early in the first half, and she was productive in the first half as well. This is her move. She does a really awesome job of coming around that corner, turning her shoulders, getting her stick free. If I was Towson, I would say we need to send the double to her as soon as she is behind the goal, because Corinne can be really dangerous back there at X.
Such a student of the game. She's known as Corinne Bednarik, a junior from Downingtown West High School. And when she gets going, the offense starts to really hum. And Drexel put 10 on the board here in the first half. They are humming right now. Second in the CAA right now, 12.92 goals per game coming into the day. Been tough on the goalies. That's what these offenses have really made it difficult. They've had some funny goals too, some deflections, some second chances. It's been difficult if you're Merlo or Bennett to really get yourself going today.
And I start to wonder, is that because both teams are playing a man-to-man style, woman-to-woman style defense? I'm not sure. If the slide is there, it allows the goalie to see the ball a little bit differently. But sometimes when you're in a zone defense, you know where the ball is coming from. You're forcing to a specific area, which makes it a little bit easier for the goalkeepers. Nonetheless, it's not easy for them no matter what, but a little off their doorstep.
Well, and the other thing, Kelly, too, is only 2 of the goals today combined have been assisted too. So it's been a lot of one-on-one moves, and you're right in front, point blank, trying to make a save. And free positions as well factored into that too.
And that's what happens when it's a woman-to-woman defense. You got to read it, but if you have some offensive players that like to go at the defense hard with a run, gun, dodge, and go type feel, then you're going to have a lot of unassisted and goals that come from 1v1 drives. So defensively, you got to be ready to slide.
So Towson with possession. They're down 10-7. Back and forth we go here in Tiger Field today. Diucci initiating from the top. The shot saved by Bennett. Clark tried to get her, and now Drexel will look to counterattack. Bednarik scampering through the middle on the clear does a good job avoiding trouble. Drexel goes to work. Talked about the goalies. Bennett there making maybe one of the best plays of the game we've seen today in goal.
And that's what she's known for, and we know she's going to have one or two of those plays. The big thing is when her team really needs her, she steps up, she makes a difference. And it's hard to do that when you're a goalie. You know, you got to really read, what is that? Is that a save? Is that an interception? Is that a helping with a caused turnover? She figures it out one way or the other.
Schneider with good dodge. Creates some space. Merlot stops it. Does it get past the line? It does not. Just got enough on it. Here's Williams. Williams does a good job in the clear. How quickly does Towson go here? About a minute to go. Possession clock is off. They're down 10-7.
I think you feel the ball in your stick for maybe about 15 seconds, and then you go ahead and look to go. I don't think the clock is a play, and you do need to pay attention to it, but you have to keep in mind you have a whole nother half, you know, to not rush something just to rush it.
Harry Thornton working her way on the inside. A spin move and a hat trick for Thornton. 10-8.
And this is where you see Thornton drive one way. She recognizes that the slide comes to her quickly, and she's able to roll back and protect her stick to get that lefty finish, which then she switches to her right to protect. But that's something Drexel needs to recognize, that next slide needs to come. But you can't overplay one direction, because Thornton, just like she just did, she's so good at reading that and turning back and finding the net.
Just past the top of the hour here in Towson, Maryland. 10-8, a wild first half here at Tiger Field. Drexel with the lead. Carson Harris has 5 goals as Towson led after one, 4-2. And then Drexel gets off on a 7-0 run here in the second quarter. Towson, though, they've been able to weather the storm and keep themselves in this game, a 2-goal game, 39.5 on the clock, alongside Kelly Berger. Tom Ashton here with you on our CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network. Bednarik taken down. There's a hold. Towson takes possession. Clock running.
And this is where we see, 25 seconds left on the clock. Drexel can't fall apart. They have to play good, solid defense. To go in with a 1-goal lead or 2-goal is a big difference. And there's Bennett. She steps up for her team defense when they need it. That's a big save.
Yeah, point-blank save, 1-0. Bennett makes it. 5 on the clock. Alex Wall playing like a wall. They try to feed on the inside. There's Bennett to pick it off. And that'll do it for a wild first half in which Drexel goes on a 7-0 run in the second quarter to lead 10-8 on the road here in our CAA Game of the Week. Carson Harris, 5 goals in the second quarter alone. She's got the school record. Halftime here at Tiger Field. All right, think we're set, think we're ready. Kelly, you good to go here for the third quarter?
Let's do it. I'm excited.
So am I. It's 10-8. Drexel with the lead. Kind of a wild first half. Up and down we went. Do you settle things down? Who needs to embrace this pace more here to be successful in the second half?
I think Towson does. I think Drexel right now has a little bit of the momentum. And now halftime we know can change things. But Drexel was winning a lot of those draw controls. They were dictating what pace they wanted. And Towson kind of let them do that. They need to stand tall and say, no, this is what we want to do, and see what they can get out of that. They did that in the first quarter. So it was definitely a tale of 2 quarters, and we'll see who shows up for the third.
And the third quarter has begun. Draw control won by the Towson Tigers. Nice pickup by Shannon Sullivan, the freshman.
And that's where it begins. We play one of these sports where you can make a goal and then get the ball back over and over again, and the other team never get it because of the draw control, which is unique. It doesn't always happen that way. So you got to fight for those 50-50 draw controls and start there if you're Towson.
Makes it fascinating to watch. It's been a pretty fascinating game. Off the post from Thornton. And leaning over the line there, I believe, was Jarema. Whistle was blown. Restart for Towson here in their own end. He had a fresh 90 after all that. Thornton had a hat trick in the first half. Lindsey Clark, 2 goals and an assist for Towson. Nothing for Blair Paris. She picked up a ground ball, but that was it. This time she shoots. Bennett gobbles it up. At least trying to get Paris going there, at least with a shot, to get her a little more acclimated into the offensive side of things today.
And that's what it's all about, right? Like just getting, especially coming out of halftime, just getting back into the groove of things, seeing which team kind of starts to make everything click first. Usually can set you up for good success, but can't count out either one of these teams for that.
Simpson now works it behind to Grady. Simpson again finds a freedom in the critical scoring area, stopped though by Merlot for 6 save.
A great stop for Merlot. She needs that early on, especially, these goalies have been pebbled a little bit early on with, right at their doorstep. We talk about it all the time. That position is very hard to play in my eyes anyway. So for them to be on your doorstep, to get an early save like that in the second half will probably give her a little bit more confidence and feel to see the ball.
It's an interesting story for Merlot this season. I mean, she started as a freshman in 2020, the shortened season, had some big moments. Last year played really well, was an all-CAA player in the tournament team too. A whistle there before the shot. They're going to call it a goal. I think they will. Thornton's got her fourth. 10-9, 1-goal game.
Got to keep playing through everything, and this is a proven instance of that, but a nice hard dodge here, tuck underneath. We've seen her do this multiple times, protecting her stick, and then, just giving a little flick of the wrist to get it back underneath the goalie. Back of her ankles is what we call it.
We talk about the dynamic offense that Zoe LaMonica told us about. This is an example of that. The day where your top dog, Blair Paris, has not found her way in the score sheet, someone else is stepping up, and that is in the form of Carrie Thornton forming that 1-2 punch quite nicely, as now it's 10-9.
And that goes hand in hand with what Sonia said. Such a dynamic offense, it allows you to do that.
So it's Sarah Rhodes back in there to take the draw for the Tigers. She came in when they were struggling in that aspect. Sissel's done such a nice job here. Sissel has 5 draw controls today. Talked about a couple weeks ago, she was the CAA Defensive Player of the Week. She had 14 against San Diego State. That tied a CAA single-game record. She does stay in there on defense too this time around. 2, Drake, what a dodge, what a finish, and a response. 11-9.
And I'll repeat what you just said. What a dodge, what a finish. And that's exactly what it is. And I'll add to it what speed she had right there to get her back past that defender. It's like she turned on the jets and all of a sudden no defender could even think about guarding her on that. So that I've said it all game. That's the athleticism in Drexel that you have to be aware of. And sometimes it just goes unmatched.
Kim Hilliard told us that her footwork reminds her a bit of Allie Kennedy. And when I think of Allie Kennedy, I think of speed and quickness. And Drake showed some of the flashes of that there.
Absolutely.
Of course, Kennedy, one of those Stony Brook greats that come through that system of Joe Spallina, which is where Kim Hilliard was an assistant for a few years and procuring a lot of that talent over the years. Now here with Drexel. 11-9 is the score here in the third. Paris with the ball in her stick. From the top she goes. Dodging on that left side. Good recovery, good defense. Haley Simpson on her. Now it's Clark. Thornton with McHugh on her.
It looks like they're trying to get her involved, Paris. It's just she doesn't look comfortable dodging at the moment to me and looks a little bit more hesitant. So At that point, you don't have to force it, but she's definitely doesn't necessarily look like herself, which just could be one of those days.
Hear that dog barking in the outside the field, so he's liking what he's seeing, or she, whatever it might be. But we've got a lot of action here. It's been fun up and down.
The weather has been interesting, the dog
true.
barking, the score has been back and forth. It's just keeping us on our toes.
Had some rain here to start, spotty showers, right around 50 degrees. It was breezy for a while here when the rain was coming through. The wind's knocked down a little bit here since we've started play, so that's always good. Schneiderith puts on a move. Bednarik. Here's the defense provided by Blair Goodrich. Blair Goodrich, that is. Shot by Grady, wide. Backed up by Drake. Just made the move a moment ago. Slide's coming a little quicker this time. Catch Simpson. She took a lot of contact there. Took a big shot. Another save for Merlot.
And what was interesting in that series, you saw 3 to 4 different players take a hard dodge, not a fake dodge, not like they were trying to create something to then build off of that. They were going to goal hard. So every player here has the green light for Drexel to go to goal hard, especially while they're face guarding Carson. They're still trying to remind the Towson defense, like, we're all threats. We can all shoot. I would say, though, that outside shot, you got to take one more step in. You got to get your hands a little bit more free. Your body has to be going down towards the goal, or that's an opportunity that's just going to be simply a turnover because of the goalie save.
Yeah, Merlot getting some confidence now on the Towson side. A couple saves in a row. Just to finish my thought on her earlier, talked about how well she did last year. Was in midseason honorable mention All-American as well. She had some big games, was top 35 of the NCAA in a lot of categories. She didn't start to begin this year. Sarah Tisowski did. Merlot has now played the last 4 games, and she's done a great job in there once again, bringing some of that experience into the cage for the Tigers for days like this.
And that's got to be hard, to be the goalie and then to not start and then have to battle. I mean, as if that position already isn't somewhat of a mind game. And I don't think that's anyone's intent. There's only one goalie allowed on the field at a time. So it's whoever's playing the best at that time. And yeah. And it looks like she's, stepped up and come around, rather than it could go the other way where you sulk and you stay on the sidelines, and it doesn't look like she did that. So good for her.
And she made 16 saves in her first start against Georgetown, an 11-7 win for Tigers. And they were like, okay, I guess we made the right call here. And she's responded accordingly. She's had some big games since then, too. It's got to feel good as a coaching staff. You make a change or you put someone in a spot and they flourish. Zizakovic.
Yeah, you tap yourself on the back.
The freshman finds her way to the back of the net. It's 11-10. 1-goal game once again, her first of the day.
We never say it has to be pretty, and sometimes it just has to be a grind, and that's what one of these dodges is. It's a grind here for her to get to goal. She's fighting hard, tries to get her hands free, and just kind of dunks it over the Drexel player the best way she can. And, it was almost one of those things where it was like, everyone kind of looked around of, well, wait, did that go in? Including a lot of, but sometimes that works and you just got to go with it. So good for her. It makes it a close game, 1-goal game here. And Tom, we did expect that, right? We didn't think it was going to be a blowout.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be close, just like that semifinal last spring. And it is that once again. We continue to battle here. Plenty of time to play here, too. 1.5 to go. Interesting move there by Zizakovic. She's from Alberta, Canada. Tough, tight proximity, switching hands, and maybe she's played a little box in her day, I might imagine.
I was just going to say that. That looks a little bit like a Canadian-style box.
Yes. Dana Dobie would have something to say about that.
Absolutely.
Another turnover for Drexel. They've had a couple of failed clears here as Tigers are trying to take advantage. Paris, she does it all. Comes up with the ground ball, and she clears it into the offensive end. We talk about Paris and how well she played in that semifinal last year. Don't forget, she went down with a knee injury late in that game, which impacted the finish quite a bit because she was rolling and had a kind of a weird, scary knee injury. She fractured her tibial plateau at the knee joint. She was out all summer, had to rehab it, got her traction back during the fall, and now in the spring, you can tell she's feeling good once again here. She's had a great start to her season. How about Zizakovic? Her second in a row ties the game, 11-11.
I would like to think that there was just confidence brewing from her last goal to the draw control, because this dodge is a hard dodge. She knows what she wants here. Her hands get up away from her body. Her elbow gets back. That is a phenomenal take, especially from that outside with that lefty rip. And I mean, that was wonderful. And look at her. She's, 11-11, and she's a freshman. That's huge. She'll remember that for a long time.
You can see the confidence. I mean, it's amazing to watch how fast that happens. So timeout there on the Drexel sideline. The score is 11-11. We'll step aside. Don't go anywhere. So we're midway through the third. You might as well be starting in the first here. It's like it's 0-0 all over again, Kelly. 11-11. What a response here in the third quarter. What a response by Towson. I mean, you got a team in that second quarter in Drexel rattle off a 7-0 run. Towson never put their heads down. They said, okay, we've been hit with a punch, and they've thrown some counters in there, and now it's a tie ball game.
It feels a little bit almost in the second quarter that Towson didn't have the ball. It was like they were kind of at a loss because they just didn't even have the ball. It wasn't even like they were taking bad shots, or they just could not get the ball from Drexel. And every time Drexel had the ball, they were scoring. Now it feels a little bit like the opposite is happening here in the third quarter, where Drexel has only had the ball for a limited amount of time on that offensive side. And Towson, each time they've got it, they've been productive. And productive with players that we maybe weren't ready for to make those huge plays. But like Coach said, this is a very dynamic offense.
And, of course, we talk about Paris in the scoring column. She hasn't done that today. No goals, assists. She now has 3 draw controls, 2 ground balls. So that is another aspect she brings to this team. And she's helped in a big way here now as Towson wins this draw control as well. Another one for Shannon Sullivan. Sullivan had been a midi. They geared down to be more defensive. They love having athletic defenders, Towson. They always have had that. That tradition continues, and Sullivan done a nice job there today on that circle.
I like to think that the middies are the best athletes, coming from another midi. You can put them anywhere. Just do whatever you got to do.
I'm glad you prefaced that saying coming from a midi. All of our attackers watching, I apologize.
Hey, I can't do what they do, so I'll give them all the credit in the world. I'll just run.
Here's Zizakovic, staying aggressive. She's got the last 2. She's helped them tie it. Thornton has 4 goals today. She takes the shot over the crossbar, backed up, though, by her sister, Caitlin. One more goal for Caitlin, and she'll have 100 in her career, by the way. Another nice pass up the middle. Bennett stops it. Unless that went over.
Great.
High over the cage.
Yeah.
No reset.
High over the cage. No reset. Great goal, or great look there. Just one more step around that crease. Somehow
that went in. Caitlin Thornton gives Towson the lead, and that is her 100th career goal. 12-11.
It looks like Caitlin saw something that none of us did, but she came around that goal and she just kind of stepped back for a second and ripped and was able to shock everybody with that. And I don't think she was shocked. I think she knew exactly what she was doing. But that's a really nice step back play where it gives her hands some room. She's able to finish with a nice hard shot and not put anyone in danger in hitting her. But look at that. That just feels good. And I think that's what Towson does so well. I mean, Sonia connects with her players so well. She's such an awesome coach and an awesome person, but you can see that that just felt good for that team for her to get that goal.
Her 100th of her career. She's the 17th in the history of the program to reach that mark. So congratulations to Caitlin Thornton, and I mean, milestones are milestones, but they mean something to these athletes, and it's a proof of her hard work and everything she's given to this program over the course of her career. Great example for the younger ones out there. Here's Carson Harris picking up that draw, as now Drexel facing a deficit for the first time in a while. What a fun game.
Yeah, this game has been a game of runs, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been very, back and forth for sure, but heavy on one side scoring and then heavy on the other. We've been going back and forth, so we'll see in the next quarter and a half what's left.
Catch for Bednarik. Into the middle. What a grab by Drake. Bednarik to Drake. We're tied again.
And that's that stick work that really sticks out to me from Drexel. I mean, being able to firmly pass that ball, but then also, that pass was a little high, still handled wonderfully, able to handle it, catch it back, give a nice one cradle to gain control of that ball, and then finish with a nice hard shot. That'll go every time if you can connect that.
Drake having a nice couple of weeks. She had 4 goals against San Diego State, had an assist last game against William & Mary. Now 2 more goals today. Started to get things going after the Johns Hopkins loss. That was an 11-6 game way back in early March. But now she's come on here today with a couple of goals in her junior season. 12-12. Big collision there was Harris went after it, and as did Sullivan. And that's going to get called against Harris. So Sullivan absorbing some contact, picking it up again. That's her 4th of the day, draw control, Shannon Sullivan.
And Tom, you wonder, taking it back to Towson defense, they made an adjustment where they shut down Carson. Now you wonder, does Drexel need to make that adjustment and start to look to shut down somebody or change something defensively to stop them from the easy positions that they're getting to look at goal?
Save there by Bennett. She's played her part here today. Now with 8 saves on the day, as we're within 5 minutes of this third quarter. It's all knotted up, 12-12. Zizakovic. Clark, picked up by Bednarik. Here's Zizakovic. Tries to get that in the middle of the Thorin. Thorin picks it up again. Could it be another one? But no, just not enough. I thought for a sec that would have been the 3rd garbage goal of the day for Towson.
And you see that they're very aware of when that ball, rebounds off of anybody's stick. They are obviously taught to find that ball and throw it back in the net. And that is something special for a team to do. But yeah, they were close to getting a 3rd.
Drake. Defense applied by Sullivan again. Sullivan's played a nice game here today. Talked about those 4 draw controls. She came into the day with 10 total on the season. Almost half her season right here.
And that can make a huge difference, giving your team that ball each time. Possession is key.
Drake against Sullivan, dumps it off. Bednarik, 13-12. She's got a hat trick and 5 points today.
She's simply unstoppable at that X behind that goal. I mean, she turns her shoulders so well. It's hard to get in front of her because then she'll roll back. She's able to get where she wants to go. She doesn't let the defense dictate it, and it's hard to defend. takes a special defender to be able to shut that down.
Going against her momentum there, running right, getting hit behind her and shooting to the left. I mean, what a goal that was for Bednarik. 3 goals, 2 assists on the year. That ties her season high. She had 3 goals, 2 assists against Albany as well.
And there was a flag held there. Because she scored, it was called back, but there was a lot of contact. So she was able to play right through that and not let that affect her.
So 13-12, Drexel retakes the lead. We've gotten ourselves into a little bit of a back and forth battle now. It had been a game of runs, and now we're working every other. There's a pickup by Sissel on her own. Transfer from Arizona State, didn't play all of last year. Now an undergraduate student from Annapolis. .220 to go here in the third quarter, excuse me. Jarema works her way through the area, but she gets it taken away. Erin Williams makes the play. She gets hit.
And I'm somewhat shocked that that's not a call, because that stick was swung towards her head. So, that's a big turnover there. That's a big play, and that's something the officials really need to watch, because that was somewhat dangerous. But again, next play, you got to keep playing and you got to roll with it. And tons of time left in this game. 1-goal game, though. Every possession matters at this point.
A big stop there by the Towson Tigers, and now they take over on offense. Nice response for them coming out of the locker room here in this third quarter. Trail 10-8 at the half. Zizakovic bumps it off to Paris. Paris still looking for her first today. The defense has been all over her. Thornton gets it knocked away into the stick of Bennett. Will they look to counter here? Less than a minute to go. Good job covering things up by Towson.
And I would say Drexel hold it to the last shot here. Get it down there. By the time they get it down there, it may be a we got to go situation. But I would say keep this ball in your possession until that horn blows, unless it's in the back of the net.
Towson defenders pretty aggressive in this clear. Patience by Drexel to get it into their offensive area. Now Jarema maybe finds a space. She takes a shot. And it's gobbled up by the Towson defense. Here they come the other way. 15 on the clock. It's Erin Williams. Gets it to Clark. 8 on the clock, and a shooting space will get called. It'll be Clark to tie with 5.7 left.
Really good recognition on Towson's side of things. Not so great. It's a mental lapse on Drexel's side of things. And we'll see here what Clark can do with it.
Here she goes. Shoots, stopped by Bennett. Big momentum heading into the fourth for Drexel as Bennett stops Clark on the free position. Drexel with a 13-12 lead. We still got 15 more minutes to play here. The Dragons leading the Tigers here at Tiger Field. This is the CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network. All right, 15 minutes to go. It's 13-12. What a wonderful lacrosse game this has been. Alongside Kelly Berger, I am Tom Eschen. This, the CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network. It's been a game of runs. It's been back and forth. We've seen some great saves and some great performances. Carson Harris with 5 goals, all contained within 1 quarter. In that second quarter, she leads the way as Bednarik also has 3 goals, 2 assists for the Drexel side of things. 4 goals for Carrie Thornton. As we head into the fourth here, Kelly, what you thinking? What's going on here these final 15 minutes?
I think on both sides, Drexel and Towson, the mental lapses have to be eliminated. And that's just simple turnovers, that's simple going to goal when maybe it's not a good opportunity, because now it counts. Whereas in the past 3 quarters, they've been able to make up for it. But now the last 15 minutes, every possession matters. You got to have an impact on each possession there is. And I would like to see defense on both sides step up. Not that teams have been able to score at will, but I would like them to have some big plays defensively.
Sissel wins another to herself. She now has 8 draw controls today. She's going in that circle, but unable to keep the ball here are the Dragons. Giving it up. Here comes Thornton. Excuse me, Garrett, the one who picked that up, Gabby Garrett. So Towson gets possession. Opportunity to tie here. Our CAA game of the week, Dragons at 2-0 in CAA play, 7-5 overall. The Tigers 1-1 this year in the CAA. They're 4-7 overall. Both have played pretty difficult schedules, top 50 RPIs for each. Zakovic had 2 goals in the 3rd quarter. Thornton has 4 today. Matched up here with Maddie White. Good job by Mike White cutting off that angle.
And Thornton's not scared to take that one-on-one dodge. So she's going to continue to take that. She is. She's making some smart decisions on when to take that shot and when not to.
Here is Thornton. Slide by Harris. Comes out to get her. Zizakovic goes to her right. Now 15 on the clock. Garrett, scoop shot. Tried to put anything there to get it in the play, but Bennett there, an easy save. Here comes Harris.
You're gonna have to shoot harder. You're gonna have to shoot harder on Bennett for that. She's ready for that kind of shot, and as she should be. I mean, who she is and where she's been, she's ready for it.
Harris had kept it the whole time, got it knocked away, though the whistle will blow. Still with the Dragons. We talked about this with Sonia LaMonica, Kelly, and about the woman-on-woman defense and the one-on-one opportunities. And she goes, isn't it just a prettier game? And they've played zones and backer defense in the past. She goes, it is. It's really fun to watch. What a dodge and a score by Drake. Hat trick, 14-12. Drexel goes up 2.
She creates space because of her first step. So if you watch it here on the dodge, you're going to see her kind of give a little hop. And hop isn't always necessary, but you got to give one hard dodge and then an explosion feeling afterwards. And you see hesitation, step hard, and explode out of it. And that's where that defender gets completely caught off guard. She almost looks like she's going to pass and then explodes forward, sees that area of space and goes for it. And she's quick, and that's hard to defend. You got to send the second slide there.
Drake, a junior from Easton, Pennsylvania, her 3rd goal of the day. An interactive digital media major. All up with the times, I'd imagine. Probably knows all about the social medias.
Absolutely. I don't think that was popular when I was in school, but it sure is now.
I don't think that discipline existed, Kelly. No offense for either of us back in the day.
Hey, but I've learned. You got to learn with the times,
yes,
right?
You have, as well as anybody.
But back to that team defense, I know, and we talked a lot about that on that, man-to-man, woman-to-woman defense, whatever you want to call it. It is really pretty. And there's so many teams out there that are trying to create different types of defenses and zones. Sometimes you got to go back to the basics of what happens, what works really well, forcing the correct way and setting the slide.
How about Hannah Delahaye taking it on her lonesome, and she scores to make it a 1-goal game, her 4th of the year.
We keep saying this, but that's why this offense is dynamic. New players keep showing up, and they may have been in the game the whole time, right? But they're confident to go to goal hard at this pivotal moment of the game. And we're talking 1-goal game here, and somebody who only has 4 goals on the season is not bashful to go to goal hard and finish. That was awesome, and it's so good to see. And that I give that a nod back to the coaching staff, giving everyone the green light, giving everyone the confidence to go, and those players really feeling it.
She was described by Sonia LaMonica as gritty with a big personality. That is CAA lacrosse right there, Hannah Delahaye, the sophomore from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Sissel, the one who was beat there. Nice response from her, winning that draw control to herself, gets the ball back for her team. They're up 1, less than 12 minutes to go. This one looking like the last time they played, the CAA semifinals in May. That was a overtime victory for Drexel. And some dissension among our officiating crew. They're gonna blow the whistle. I think they're actually gonna call a foul there. So that was called on Malamphy. Harris will get a free run at it here. Good pass to Grady. Knocked away by Williams. Harris quiet, didn't score in the third after the 5 in the second. That is also picked off.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. So Harris didn't score in the third. She was face guarded. You can't allow that to take you out of your game. You got to figure out a different way to play once you are face guarded. Maybe go set picks, cut through, whatever it is. Get the ball through the midfield so you have it in your stick. Then once you have it in your stick, there's a fine line of feeling anxious because it's in your stick and it hasn't been there for a while, feeling like you need to produce, and then just playing with the flow of the game, not messing up the flow of the game and making it about you. So that's tough. I imagine she knows what to do because she has been in these positions before, but it was a good change that Towson did. They needed that.
And now they got the ball back, looking to tie it. Clark into the middle, tries to get it to go. Schneiderith, I think, knocked that away before she was able to shoot it. Ball bouncing, rolling through the middle here. Harris, in the carnage of bodies, picks it up, but there's a reason for that. And then it's the infraction on Drexel. We'll get the ball back for Towson.
And that's unlucky because that feels inconsistent just because there was a big collision down on the other offensive side, collision in the midfield. But at the end of the day, it's the ref's call, so gotta play.
So after it looked like Drexel was going to be off and running, and that looked like a goal. I know we were in this side of the field, but Carson Harris with the ball with not many people around her is a scary sight. Nonetheless, Towson gets the ball back. They lead this series 36-6 all time. Prior to last year, they lost all 3 matchups last year to Drexel. They had won 5 in a row. Delahaye again going to the cage, and she draws the shooting space, sitting in there with Sissel. So a bit of a isolation ball played for the Tigers now, getting Delahaye going.
Which is exactly right. If Drexel isn't going to slide, if Drexel's not going to make the slide, I would spread out the offense as well. Let them dodge, let them go to goal, and that's why you're going to get a shooting space call. You either have to decide to go or you have to get out of the way as the defender.
On March 9th, Delahaye scored 2 goals against UMBC. One step, shot. She goes 5-hole and scores. Towson ties it, 14-14.
And that's Towson confidence. That's what I remember when I played JMU versus Towson in college. Step and rip it. She has no doubt in her mind that she can make that goal, and that's what they do at Towson. They have confidence in any season. It doesn't matter how they've been playing, and that's Sonia talked about that. They were ready. They have confidence. They're still a very proud group, ready to work, and that's shown right there, tying the game up 14-all.
Caitlin Thornton now with a hat trick today for the captain. Coming up big here. She had a season high of 2 goals against Mount St. Mary's back on February 12th. This now her season high in one of the biggest games of the year, you could say. A hat trick here today. Now with 101 goals. I know the 100 was nice. 101, even better. Key draw control here. 14-14. Less than 10 minutes to go. Blair Goodrich and Sissel battling. Bednarik, another. Bednarik that's her 6th draw control today. She also has 3 goals and 2 assists. Has she been good? She's done.
You can really tell she works her butt off everywhere, and in my opinion, she's been one of the better players on the field today.
Free run there for Maddie White. She dumps it off. Yeah, Blair's done, or Corinne Bednarik has done that for a long time. Since she was a freshman, she led her class in that 2020 season and seemed to get better and better. All CAA rookie last year. Shot for Wall, and Merlot didn't know where it was, but she makes the save anyway. Just being in the right place worked there for the junior.
And that's the defense we talk about, is driving that offensive player to the outside so the goalie knows where the ball is coming from. She might not be able to necessarily see the ball, but she knows the angle to be able to get her body in front of it. Who wants to get their body in front of a ball other than a goalie? I'm not sure. But she did exactly that, and she was able to, make a huge save for Towson.
I like how when you ask goalies about how it happened, a lot of times it doesn't sound like they volunteered for it. They're like, oh, I was on the attack, and then, no one was there that day, so I decided to go in the goal, and I've been here ever since. Like, it's never, like, I've been playing goalie since I was 4. It's always an interesting story how they got there.
It is, for sure. And I always feel bad, too, for the goalkeeper's parents, because that's just nerve-wracking.
Delahay's shot is a little wide. Picked up by Caitlin Thornton. Looks into the middle. One shot, a quick one at that, and a score. Samantha Intreri, her first of the season.
It's a common theme here. First of the season. I mean, head is up, a beautiful feed, but having confidence to pop to the goal and just stick up, ready to receive, pass inside. I mean, they have a right to be excited right now. It's next player up, and that's next player up, and that's exactly what Sonia talked about, and that's what they're doing.
I mean, it is. I mean, you throw her in there. She hasn't played a lot today. A junior from Ambler, Pennsylvania. She scores her first goal to take the lead midway through the fourth quarter, 15-14.
To take the lead on a CAA huge game and hasn't played much today. I mean, you couldn't be more proud if you were Sonia.
She talked about it. She goes, yeah, our coaching staff has had a taste of winning the CAA championship. Back in 2016 was their last before JMU went on their run. She goes, none of these players have experienced that yet. We want to go back to focusing on the importance of these games. NCAA tournament, some of the non-conference games, yeah, they're great. But this is what it's all about right here. And you can tell, just from the energy they've had all day here today, then they are certainly up to the task. Drexel has the edge and draws. They've won 20. Towson with 12. But at this point in the game, you got to win the next one.
Next game or next possession, next draw control. You have to stay sharp. You're under 7 minutes now. So it really is, for Drexel, you can't let this get away from you. But for Towson, you have to make smart decisions and allow the momentum to take you. Start to chip away. One goal, put it away, and then another goal, put it away. And while you're feeling good is what I say.
Zizakovic had 2 goals in the third. Finds some freedom into the sternum of Bennett. She makes the stop.
A great drive there. Just, take an extra second on that shot to find space, especially against Bennett. It's tough, but a really beautiful drive with getting her hands free on that lefty sweep.
Now Drexel working in the clearing game. 12 of 15, make it 13 of 16 today. Here's Grady. Grady looks for some space. Stopped by Merlot. Rebound in front by Simpson. Ball in the air. Williams gets it and passes it off to her goalie. Crease violation regardless. Towson gets a stop.
It feels as if the Drexel offense is not getting as many quality shots as they were in that second quarter when they took that big lead. And it goes back to settling in a little bit, realizing, I know it's only one goal, but also they haven't had the ball that much. So they feel antsy once they get it. And that's what I think is resulting in these plays when they're down on that offensive side.
I mean, you look at last year, and those first 2 games were blowouts. I mean, Drexel was rolling through the regular season. They really dominated both at Tiger Field and Vitus Field. Then they met in the CAA semifinals, and that was a different story. Yeah, Drexel won, but I think Towson showed what they're made of, and I think they've answered that call once again today. Starting the season, yeah, the record is what it is. They don't look like a 4-7 team today.
No, but I will say that this timeout, on both sides of things, they have to be really careful, both teams, never too high, never too low. So there's still 5 minutes, 25 seconds left in this game, and we've seen both of these teams go on runs back and forth where Towson can't feel so good that they get too loose, and Drexel can't feel so low that they kind of put their heads down. 5 minutes is a long time. A lot can be done. And there's our mascot. We've been waiting for him.
He's found his way inside the fence. Yeah, he found his way inside here. Maybe
they're having a timeout talk too.
Maybe there was something that had to happen on that grass, I guess.
Exactly. But either way, never too high, never too low. And both of these teams have to recognize 5 minutes, especially for this kind of game, anything can happen.
Don't forget, in that semifinal game in the CAA championship last year, CAA tournament, Towson led 14-11 with 11 minutes to go. Drexel scored the final 3 to tie, force overtime, and then they scored in the overtime. So, like you said, Kelly, Towson can't take their foot off the gas pedal here. They have to know that Drexel isn't done yet.
It's hard. It's hard to think that way, too, because you go in that timeout, you're really excited, and sometimes that timeout can cause you to lose a little focus because you're feeling good and you're not paying attention to maybe what needs to happen next, where, sometimes staying in the moment, staying in the game allows you to keep that feeling going, and you got to stay focused because you never know what can happen.
It's Clark over to Paris. Paris still hasn't scored today. She gets it back. She almost was able to grab it, but unable to do so. Schneiderith picks it up. Had to reach back behind her a bit there. That was a tough catch. But if she were able to catch that, I bet that's a goal 9 times out of 10.
Absolutely, especially from her. And she wants that back. But again, we can't avoid looking at what else she's done throughout the rest of the game, through the midfield, through the draw controls, through the ground balls, and setting up plays for other players. So it might not be her day for scoring goals, but it's been her day in other ways.
Grady looking into the middle. One stick, one time to Schneiderith. We're tied at 15.
And just like that, momentum can change. And not to say that it's now all Drexel, but just a simple cut to ball, cut hard. You see the change of speed. She backdoors her defender, and she's able to get just enough of that ball in her stick to change the direction to a shot.
An experience, Kelly. I mean, 2 graduate students, they've done that once or twice throughout their careers, and you can see that coming through, especially in that moment, a big moment at that. 4:08 to go, and we're knotted at 15.
Yeah, those players have been there before. They know what this feeling is, and I would say out of a lot of teams in the NCAA, Towson and Drexel, they know how to fight back. We've seen them fight back a lot. And I think it's just a CAA thing. I feel like we can never count any CAA game out until it's done because teams just keep fighting until the very end.
A lot of that comes with their non-conference schedules. These CAA teams play as tough a schedule as anybody here out of conference. Draw 1 by Sissel. She has been dynamic on the circle. She's in double digits now with 10 today. Drexel an opportunity here to take the lead. 15-15 is the score.
And you can see here, they're playing man-to-man defense. They're shutting down Carson. And Carson's just standing there, but her offense doesn't need her right now. But I would say go set picks. Here she is setting a pick, and then keep moving.
Jarema works
we don't
back
like to pay
right.
attention. We don't like to pay attention to one goalie, or one player, but it ends up being that way when you have someone like Carson who scores 5 goals in a row to put her team back up.
Jarema, opportunity to give her team the lead. She has 5 goals this year, 3 of 7 on free position. She'll pass out of it. Tries a flash back open. As the sun starts to come out here in Towson, Maryland today. Had some rain to start the game, and now brightening up for the finish. Final 3 minutes.
Spotlight is on.
Brady tried getting that in the middle. Knocked away, picked back up by Simpson. 20 on the clock. Carrie Liucci doing a good job defensively, got her stick on that. Now there's 10. Drake into the middle. Drake hands free, stopped by Merlot, her 11th save. This will be Towson possession. Quick outlet there for Merlot. Towson coming back the other way. Nicole Liucci with the clear. Sonia LaMonica called Carly Merlot a gamer, and that's why.
That was a lot. I mean, that possession there, it was hard to somewhat keep up, but Drexel going in that last 10 seconds, a nice hard shot, and an amazing save, and then a quick outlet. That's that run and gun stuff we love. And it's obvious here that Towson needs to just take a chill and pass around, just breathe.
15-15. Carrie Thornton, 4 goals today. Looking over the middle, hesitates. The ball bounces free. Harris gets her stick in there. Ball still loose. Picked up, Paris. Huge ground ball by Blair Paris to keep possession. Now the clock's getting low. It's at 10. Paris muscling on the inside. Gets checked away by Bennett, and they'll call that offensively. Possession back to the Dragons. 1:11 on the clock.
I don't know, Tom. That's a tough call there, and I don't know about that one. I'm just gonna not say anything. So, but either way, I mean, both teams playing hard, so you got to give it to them.
And the Drexel sideline calls a timeout with 54.7 seconds remaining. And they'll talk things over for this offensive possession. Paris had made a great play to get the ball and keep the ball, to give themselves an opportunity, was hounded by the defense. And Drexel doing just enough to get it back here. And if you are the sideline here for the Dragons, led today by Katie O'Donnell, Alyssa Guido and Jamie Schneider at the volunteer, with Kim Hillier out with personal reasons. You can see in the middle, drawing up a play. Like you said, Kelly, I mean, Carson's been shut off here in this second half. Who do you work through?
I mean, it's tough because you want Carson, but you don't necessarily need her right now because there's been so many other producers. So I would maybe go Corinne. I would maybe take it to X and see if you can get a crease roll here. And if you want to use Carson as almost, someone who sets a pick, the switch isn't going to happen, or if it is, it might be a little sloppy. Play off of that from there. You have a lot of opportunity for 1v1 because it's the woman-to-woman defense. And if I was on the Towson side, I would send the double early. I would make Drexel pass the ball, make sure the first slide is there, and then as well as the second slide.
So it's 15-14. JMU beat Elon today. Those are the standings going into the day. William & Mary with a 6-5 lead over Delaware. This has been a wild affair. It was 4-2 Towson after 1. Drexel goes on a 7-goal run into the second quarter. They led 10-8 at the half. It's been pretty even, pretty back and forth ever since. Carson Harris does have those 5 goals, but Narek 3 goals, 2 assists. Sissel with 10 draw controls for Drexel today. On the Towson side, Carrie Thornton has 4 goals, a couple apiece. They've got a lot of different players that have been involved here today as they sport 8 different goal scorers. And both goalies have been good. They've got double-digit saves, 10 for Bennett, 11 for Merlot, and this will be Merlot's biggest test of the day here. What a game.
All in all, it's been quite a game. It's been well-rounded on defense, offensive sides. I mean, couldn't ask for a better one.
Yeah, I mean, Drexel's got 11 turnovers today. That's below their season average. Towson has just 9, so that's been clean as well. It'll start in the cross of Harris, 54.7 to go. And we will wait. Almost the same score as last year's CAA semifinals. That was a 15-14 Drexel win. Today we're tied 15-15. Malamphy here, checking Harris. 30 on the clock. That's Grady flanking Harris to her left.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're shutting off Grady there. I would almost sink in a little bit and play that help defense.
Malamphy, Harris goes down, keeps possession, gets it knocked away. Sullivan picks it up. 6-5 on the clock. Drexel isn't able to get a shot off. The Towson defense holds firm, and we head to overtime here in Towson, Maryland. What a 4 quarters. We need another one, just like it happened in May. We'll step aside. We'll get you set, and then overtime coming up next in our CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network. Well, breezy out there today at Tiger Field in Towson, Maryland, as we've had a little bit of everything, both weather-wise and game-wise here. It's been quite the affair. We get some bonus lacrosse in our CAA Game of the Week. It's 15-15 as we head into a sudden death overtime. And this is a great time to remind you, we have been all day long, of what happened in the CAA semifinals last year. We opened with mentioning some controversy, and it was controversial a bit last year. Don't forget, at the start of the overtime period in that CAA semifinal game, tied at 14, Towson assessed a green card, meaning Drexel had a free run, a free possession to start. They get a free position, they score, and they advance to the championship, losing to JMU in overtime of that game. But just something to keep in mind as we begin, some of those memories, I'm sure, in the back of the heads of these athletes here today. Tony LaMonica told us, he goes, yeah, I mean, we're not honing in on that too much, but I bet for the kids it's probably in there. A little bit of a reminder here. So Towson, no bones about it, they are the first team out. So they are ready to go. Blair Goodrich waiting for Drexel. They weren't gonna make that mistake again. Kelly, we begin this fifth quarter, this overtime period. What should we be expecting here?
2 teams to work their butts off. They've both been playing hard ball on both sides of the field. We talked about defense has been good, offense has been good, goalies have been good, draw controls have been a fight. I expect it to just continue into this 5th quarter, as we're going to call it. But really, there's history here. Like you said, there's a slight reminder, and one team wants to come out on top. And I will remind you, it's one team's senior game, too.
It is for the Tigers, 11 players honored here before the game. And despite the fact that Tigers down in the draw controls all day long, losing 21-13 until then, their 14th draw control win gets them the first possession in OT. Next goal wins. Lindsey Clark, couple of goals and an assist today, looking for a cutter. Guarded by Simpson. She works to the top. Ari Liucci, one of the seniors. Into the middle she goes, hands free and scores! Liucci wins it on senior day. 16-15.
This is a perfect example of taking what the defense gave her, and they gave her her left 1v1 dodge. She had confidence, she went hard, she found the corner bottom of the net, and there was no doubt in her mind that that was going in when she let it leave her stick, and Towson comes out on top.
Liucci's 8th goal of the season, her first of the day, comes when it mattered the most. The senior who was honored along with 10 of her friends before the game comes up in the biggest spot, and one of the sets of sisters we talked about over the years with this Towson team, her twin Nicole is on this club too. A family affair for Towson as they, on senior day, take down Drexel in OT. Our final thoughts coming in just a moment. We'll take one more break and then wrap things up here from Tiger Field at the CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network. Welcome back live at Tiger Field in Towson, Maryland. Towson Tigers winning 16-15 over the Drexel Dragons. Let's go back to the game-winning goal. Ari Liucci, Kelly, getting the job done when her team needed it the most.
Yeah, and this was a little bit of a breakdown on the Drexel defense. I don't know if it was communication or what it was, but either way, Towson took the moment and capitalized. And there was some conversation, obviously, of what that play was going to look like, because you could see that they kind of talked through it. But you see Carson Harris kind of run away from the ball right now. Never turn your back on the ball. But then, Towson just says, well, you're going to let me go and you're going to take me to my left hand. I'll take it. And sometimes we like to fight for what we want and go to our right because that's what we want. But hey, if the defense is going to give you your left, take it. Nice hard dodge, explodes out of that and finds that low corner. And, Towson's been here before, and so they're used to it a little bit this season, and they finally came out on top.
And that, what we talked about all day long, Kelly, an example of this Towson offense and just yet another goal scorer. Liucci, the 9th different scorer of the day, showing how empowered anybody, anytime, anywhere, given the ability to go out there and flourish.
It's so cool to see because you see players are harped on a lot of this is our goal scorer, this is our goal scorer. For Towson, you truly can get a goal from anyone coming off that bench or someone that's on the field all the time. And I give the nod to the coaching staff to give everyone that confidence to do so.
A really cool moment here in Tiger Field, a celebration for these seniors, a celebration on a victory as Towson improves to 2-1 now in CAA play. That's an important win for them. Didn't want to fall to 1-2 on the season. They're now 5-7 overall. Dragons fall to 2-1 themselves in CAA play. They're now 7-6. Towson winners in overtime, 16-15 over the Drexel Dragons. That'll do it for our coverage today from Tiger Field in Towson, Maryland. For Kelly Berger and the rest of our team, I am Tom Eschen. Thanks for watching. See you next time, everyone.